church and stuff like that, it was time that I started.
That was the Brody Curt, man. What's good? Episode 2, Birds of the Same Feather podcast, man. We had the Brody Curt in the building. Medical student. Medical student. Medical student. How many of y'all parents was telling y'all, yo, y'all gotta be a doctor? Like, ain't no choice. You about to be a doctor. You're going to college to be a doctor. You're going to college to get into medical school. You know what I mean? And how many of y'all fucking parents told y'all that if you don't do this, you're a failure? Or if you don't do this, you're wasting time. If you're not a doctor or a lawyer, you're wasting time. So I felt like it was important to get somebody who actually got into medical school, who's actually going through it right now. The Brody Curt, man. Known Curt for at least 11 years. At least 11 years. And he never changed up. My boy never changed up since I knew him. Wavy, bro. Wavy, bro. Determined. He's a very determined individual. Like, he's the type of person that, like, he's very religious as well. So he be on that type of time where it's like, yo, if God said yes, nobody can say no. All my Africans know that song. Nobody can say no. Oh, y'all know that shit, man. The Brody Curt in the building, man. Episode 2. Keep it locked. Bah!
I definitely remember that, bro.
But you probably didn't actively remember that shit. You know what I mean? Like, bro.
You reminded me. I can't even.
Exactly. Like, bro, like I remember that day, like it was yesterday, bro. Like I was asking mad people, like, yo, can you let me borrow your car so I could like take this driver's license test? Everybody said no. You came right after your class and you took me to that fucking driver's license test, bro. And I passed. And that was my 4th time, bro. I failed 3 times.
Damn.
I failed 3 times before.
I didn't even know that you had taken it before. So
bro, I took that shit 3 times, bro. I failed all 3 times. And I passed that 4th time, bro. So I really appreciate you for that, bro.
Yeah, no doubt. No.
Yo, Curtis is that dude that your parents tell you to be like. You're like, yo, you gotta be like fucking Curtis, bro. Like that. Like, yo, you gotta be like Curtis, yo. Like, easily, I've known Curtis for like 10 years. People don't even know that. Easily 15, 16, bro.
Probably, yeah. I want to say like 08. Yeah.
08? That's like 12 years, bro. Yeah. Easily, bro.
Thanks.
Easily, bro. So I just had to get Curtis on the episode, man. Episode 2, bro. Thank you, bro. Thank you for sharing your time. I know you're busy right now. I know you're busy as fucking mess. Yo, how's that shit going?
I can't front, bro.
That shit crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, that's one of those things, bro. They be telling you before, like, you get in there, it's like, nah, like, it's a lot of information, like, it's mad hard. Like, they use this analogy of, like, trying to drink water from, like, a fire hose. That's what the analogy they use. But, like, there's no way that you could really know how it is until you in it, bro. Like, they could tell you all the stuff that they want to tell you until you in it. That's how you really know. But, you know, I'm taking it day by day, bro. Making it, grinding, feel me?
That's fire, bro. Bro, you doing the shit that a lot of people like want to really do. So that's why I really want to get you on this, because it's like a lot of people like they aspire to be a doctor or like a nurse practitioner in the healthcare field. And you know, I really wanted to just get somebody's perspective who's like really in it and not like already a doctor, but like actively going through it. You know, first year, you know, you getting acclimated to it. And so how was it like your first week, like in the field, not in the field, but like in medical school? How was like the first week? Because like I was trying to go to medical school too, and I was looking at mad videos, and they like, yo, don't study your ass off like the week before, thinking that you're gonna be at the game and shit. Like, it don't work like that.
I mean, the first week, I mean, you saying like after orientation, I'm assuming. Like after like
when you in classes and like you full-fledged in the shit.
So basically it was like they told us like we finished orientation on like the Friday, whatever, like next week we about to start like for real. So over that weekend, everybody started like looking at PowerPoints. We trying to look at all these slides. So I'm looking at these slides, I'm like, nah, like this is not how it's really about to be. Like, no way. Some of them was more straightforward, but some of them was like, nah, like I really hope this is not how all the PowerPoints is gonna be, whatever. So I tried to like pre-read or whatever to start off on the right foot. And then when we started, it was like It's funny. The first professor that I had was this OD Ghanaian dude, bro. So he was
what?
yeah,
What?
nah, OD, bro, OD.
That's
Strong
lit.
accent, all that. Ezra was mad funny, but nah, it was definitely like one of those things to get acclimated to, like the speed at which they teach, the amount of lectures you have a day. Like Estonia used to be like, we have like you have this class and you got a little gap. One lecture is like
Yeah,
an hour.
word. That's a
You need to
fact.
do whatever you got another class. This joint is like you got one class and then you got like one hour lecture and then another 2 hour lecture and then one hour lecture. Then you got a lunch break and you got like another 2 hour lecture and then like and then another lecture. Like sometimes it be like you in class from like 9 a.m. to like 4 or 5 p.m. Sometimes it's a little later, but it's something that you start getting used to like little by little. But to start off, like definitely dumb tiring, like stupid tiring.
Yo, bro, I just want to go back a little bit, bro. So like
Sure.
that's crazy, bro. So like what was your path like to medical school?
Yeah.
Like because like I'm gonna be honest, I wanted to go to bro, I couldn't do that shit, bro. I couldn't do that shit, bro. I'll give it a buck, bro. Like I tried the Stony classes, bro. Them shit was fucking me up, bro. I was getting like B minuses and bro, them B minuses wasn't like oh like I wasn't really going in depth and like I was I was studying 10 hours getting a B minus C plus, bro. So I'm like, nah,
Yeah.
this is not it for me. So like
Right.
how was it like how did you lock into for yourself to get into medical school, taking the MCAT? Like how was it like locking in for that?
I guess I'll start off from college. I feel like differently to what you just described in college, especially like first and second year. I realized like at a later point when I looked back, like I wasn't really doing nothing. You know what I'm saying? It wasn't one of those things where I was like, I was trying mad hard and I wasn't doing well. It was one of those things where I realized like I might have been trying to work hard, but I definitely was not working smart for sure. Like definitely not. So we come in, we took chem together. I don't know if you remember that first
Nah,
semester.
I remember that shit, boy. Bro, I got a D, bro. That shit beat me up, bro. I was getting fucked up, bro. I was
Nah,
getting fucked
definitely,
up.
definitely, bro. I got a that was first semester. I got a B minus, and that to me was like I got a B minus. Like I remember the
Nah,
first test I got an 84, and I was tight. Like I was just like, this is what I'm about to be doing in college, whatever. But that kind of just set the tone for how the rest of the semester went because my standards for grades went down. Like my standards for grades was like, oh, if I could get like a 70 something on this drink, if I
I'll
could
be
get a
good.
calm C, like that's good enough. But that definitely it definitely affected my confidence OD. Like the way that I conducted myself as a student from that point was different than it was in high school. At that point, it's just like, let me just try to get by, whatever. But I realized I was playing myself. By the time I got to like my GPA was on like a downward trend for my first 2 years because we took Gen Chem, and then the next year we taking Orgo, taking Bio 203,
Shit
notorious
get crazy real
killing
fast.
people,
Like,
you know what I'm saying? So that in itself was wild. Like that. So like by the time we finished sophomore year, I'm like in a bad spot. Like I definitely don't mind talking numbers on here. So I had like we finished sophomore.
and not to cut you off, bro. I'm sorry. But I appreciate that, bro, because people need to know the numbers, bro. Because like it's a lot of people in this position where like they coming from high school and like they taking these general chemistry shits, bro, and they getting C's and D's and then nah, like let me just stop right here. Because
Yeah,
it's like if I'm getting this, there's no way I'm gonna be a doctor or go to
fact,
med school. You know what I mean?
fact,
So
that's
like
a
I
fact.
appreciate that, bro.
Yeah, nah, bro. Honestly, I've encountered so many people. Like, I've been grateful to have a lot of people who are willing to mentor me and like speak into my life and stuff. But I've also encountered a lot of people who like just weren't like super transparent. It's like you want to talk MCAT score, they're just like, oh nah, I can't really
Yo,
say it.
yo, you know the phrase I hated in college? You'll be fine. They be like, I'll be like, yo, I'll be like, how's bio 203? You'll be fine. I'm like, what the fuck? What the fuck does that mean? You'll be
Yeah,
fine.
yeah.
Used to blow
Nah,
up.
OD. So like, I definitely like out of the people that I've talked to, some younger dudes, like younger people I've tried to start like helping along in college and stuff. I'm like, nah, I'm gonna tell y'all my numbers, but I understand why certain people don't want to harp on the numbers because it's a balance to it. It's like you don't want to tell somebody your number so that they're just like, oh, now he got this. If I get this, I could get there. But that's not always how it is. It's not like really like a recipe or formula to it. Because if I'm being honest, like my numbers on paper should not have gotten me into med school. They shouldn't have. Not like they like I got into out of all the schools that I applied to. I mean, I got into one. I guess that like this is one of those things where, and I'm definitely gonna be talking about like faith and stuff as far as my path is concerned. But
Oh yeah,
like
of course,
I feel like God opened that door, like, and there's nobody who could have done anything about that. But there was other parts of my application that was stronger. But if we talking about strictly just like this was my GPA, this was my MCAT, a lot of schools just look at my joint and be like, nah, he's a dub. Like I got screened out of a lot of schools. Like certain schools, like they'll look at your numbers, and if you don't meet a certain threshold, it's an automatic rejection. So mad at my schools that I applied to was like, oh, he got a on my application overall GPA with undergrad and grad school put together. I had like a solid 3.0, and my MCAT was a 5.02. So like certain schools, if you're not getting like a 5.08 plus, it's a dub. You over. It's over for you. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I feel like it's important to talk to your numbers about people so they realize that it really just matters how much you want it, but at the same time, you don't want them to use you as the standard. So it's like people got to take your advice with a grain of salt kind of thing. That's what I be trying to tell people. You feel me?
So basically, it's like I can't look at Curtis and be like, all right, Curtis got what you said 502.
502, yeah.
So I can't say Curtis got a 502. If I get a 502, I can get into the same school. Like you're a different person, so it's not gonna be.
Can't do it. My letters of recommendation are different than yours. My shadowing hours is different than yours. My personal statement is different than yours. My connects is different than yours. Like there's a whole bunch of things that go into an application, and I feel like a lot of pre-meds, the numbers are important. I'm not gonna act like they're not important, but they definitely don't make up the whole application. Like you can have a 4.0, 520. You have no shadowing hours, no research. You're not getting into school. That's it. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, like it doesn't work. Like you can't just be book smart. You know what I'm saying? Like you gotta have a full well-rounded package. So like for me, I feel like where my numbers were lacking, like I had leadership positions. Like I was in MAPS, I was MAPS president and VP. I got some shadowing hours in. I got like a little bit of research under my belt. Like I knew a couple of different people like in medicine and stuff like that, and it worked to my advantage. You know what I'm saying? But some other people will be like they will kill in school, but like they don't really do anything outside of that.
Outside of it,
and that will hurt you because people are gonna be like, "Ah, you smart and all," but when you submit an application, your application is supposed to be like, okay, not only is this person competent enough to become a doctor, but they've shown through what they've done that they actually have the interest in becoming a doctor. You know what I'm saying?
Like, okay.
It's one of those things that I'm learning that to this day. You could be smart. If you don't want to be a doctor, you will not survive med school. I don't care what anybody says, bro, because the joint is like, it's too tedious for you to not have a real passion for it.
I feel what you're saying.
It's like you going through the classes and stuff like that. You're like, yo, why am I doing this? Like every single day, bro, I promise you, there's not a single day that I've had of school that I haven't just taken a pause and been like, yo, why am I doing this? And reminded myself of like why I'm doing it. You know what I'm saying? And that
it's got to be something bigger.
There's got to be something bigger. It has to be. Some people, they have certain things that can motivate them. For me, something like bread was not enough to just motivate me. Like I want to get money. Like obviously doctors get money. It's part of it. I'm not gonna lie, but if it was that alone, no way. Because it's not only is it like it's mentally draining, mentally fatiguing. It could hit your confidence OD. You know what I'm saying? Like I have mentors that I'll tell like, yo, like school really bodied me this week. That just be having me like reevaluating like everything. And it's like, oh nah, that's normal. They be like, nah, that's regular. You know what I'm saying? I'll be like, yo, I'll see my family members in the crib and just automatically I'll just be tight. Like I'll just be irritable. You know what I'm saying? This is like, oh nah, that's regular. You know what I'm saying? So like it comes with a lot of weight to it. But if you remind yourself of the greater purpose that you're doing it for, there's nothing really that can stop you from doing it.
That's fire, and I like that you said that because that can segue into my the first question I really want to ask you is like, how was your upbringing? Because for me personally, when I went into high school, my mother was like, "Okay, so you're getting ready to be a doctor now."
Yeah.
I'm just like, "Yo, like, I don't get it." Like, it never really registered to me until college. I never really got to explore what I wanted to do. It was just like,
Right.
"Yo, I'm about to just be a doctor right now." You know what I mean? Like, I'm about to just do this shit. It wasn't
Yeah.
like, "All right, let me senior year of high school, let me explore, let me see what type." It was just like, "Nah, I'm about to just be a doctor." So like when you were talking about there has to be something bigger, some
Yeah.
people something bigger is like my mom wants me to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what was your something bigger?
Got you. All right. So if I'm being honest, I didn't have a legitimate something bigger until I was like already in Stony Brook. So my parents, like, thankfully, both of my parents are like medical professionals. My dad is a pharmacist. My mom's a nurse practitioner, by training, and so just being able to see them, like, they come home, they wearing scrubs, white coats, and all that stuff. It was kind of like normal to see certain things. So obviously, like when you a kid, like you start to gain certain interests. It's like, okay, this is what's around me. I can see myself kind of doing this, right?
Mhm.
And then certain conversations that they had also just like, yeah, I want to know what y'all talking about, but there's no way I can know. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So that my interest started from there. From then though, like it kind of was just like a passive thing of like, oh yeah, like I'm gonna do that one day. So like all the stuff like you was talking about, like in high school and whatever, was kind of geared towards like, okay, this is eventually where I want to go. But like it wasn't like a on my mental, like I need to do this to become a doctor. It was like, okay, I should probably take this research class that'll probably help like me become a doctor eventually.
Yeah,
But I
yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
like, super gunning for the doctor thing in high school. So there was even a point where I was just like, nah, doctor kind of OD. Let me just do like pharmacy. And my mom,
I
my
feel
mom said
you.
she was like, look, at one point she was like, yo, I don't want you to feel like because you feel like the joint is too hard, like you can't do it. Like if you want to be a doctor, like go be a doctor. Like it's gonna be difficult, but like put the work in and like you'll get there. I was like, all right, I guess I'll do the doctor thing. At that point, it was still kind of just like, all right, like I'll just do it. So I got into college, and then finished first semester with a 2.9, sick, like
Too
sick.
long.
My pops was dumb tight, like, and my parents have definitely been good examples, and none of them forced anything on me. But
Okay, good, good, good.
yeah,
That's what
they,
I
they
was gonna
never
say.
they never told me like you need to do this, you need to do that. I think it was more so like, oh, if you have a plan that yields something that is stable, then okay. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? They never said go into medicine. They never told me anything like that. And I feel like that's very different than a lot of African children and like Caribbean children.
We gonna
My
get
parents.
into that, bro. We gonna get into that, bro.
So I mean, just to like to make my answer a little bit more concise, um, as I was uh getting like progressing in college and stuff like that, also being away from home and being away from like my family, my home church and stuff like that, was time that I started really growing in like my faith and my walk with God and stuff like that on my own. And so there became a point where I started to understand like what it meant to like serve God and serve other people. And at some point, like the connection between being a doctor and serving others and like loving to serve out of like the love that I have for God, like it just came together. Like I was sitting in my room, just like against my wall in tablecloth, bro. And I just was like, the joint just clicked all of a sudden. And I wrote my first personal statement, like without stopping, bro. I just wrote that joint mad fast. And it just became so much more real to me, like why I was doing it. Like it wasn't just about like I'm gonna get this degree and I'm gonna have a doctor at the end of my name. It was like, yo, when you're doing this joint, like you're doing this because part of being a doctor and probably the largest part of being a doctor is healing people not just in their physical sense but like as a whole. And in doing that, that kind of was representative to like what God has done for me and what God does for people. So like kind of like I felt like my purpose and my role in this earth at that point was in being a doctor. You're able to kind of bring that healing and that wholeness to a lot of broken people that they need. And my later experiences kind of solidified that, just in seeing a lot of people that really just needed like not a doctor to prescribe something for them, but somebody to just like hear them, listen to them, like be their advocate and stuff like that. So That is what became my greater purpose at a point. And once I had that, it became difficult for me to be like, all right, I'm not going to do this joint no more. Like once I realized that that was the thing that I was going for, it was like, okay, this is not even about me or what I want anyway. You know what I'm saying? This is about something much greater than that. So obviously not everybody can have this super grandiose whatever, but I feel like at the end of at the root of it, the desire to want to be an advocate for others and wanting to serve in that regard is like a baseline. Like if you don't have that, and you could be a doctor, you just probably won't be a great one. I'll say, you know what I'm saying? You could be one, but you could probably be one, but like
you'll get through the step 1, step 2s, but you'll be as a
when you come
doctor,
to
you'll be
the
garbage.
patients, there's the patients that'll be like, oh, like Dr. So and so, like you really, wow, like you really changed this for me. You really helped me in this area. The time that I first had that experience, I was in 11th, no, not 11th grade. I was a junior in college, and I was shadowing Dr. Phillips. He's like the first Black doctor that I spoke to ever. He's a family practitioner at Stony Brook, so I was shadowing him, and a patient and their parent was being seen, and one of the patients had like, it was like an older patient that was a child, and they had Down syndrome, and it was just real hard for the mom. And he just sat there, bro, and just like listened to the mom kind of just go through what she was going through, and just like the advice that he was giving her was not just directly related to the condition of the patient and everything like that. She just started crying, bro. She was just like, though, you don't understand like what you've meant in our lives. And that was like, yo, this is why I'm doing this joint. Like from that moment onward, bro,
That's fire.
I was like, yo, this is it for me. This is it. This is it for me. And that's my God. Like we talk every now and again, just to like, he's helped me along my path like tremendously. So
Bro, that's fire, bro. And that's fire, bro. I never had that. I was searching for that because like it's like, and this is gonna lead into my next question. It's like, why do parents like, and it's very telling that you said your dad was a pharmacist, your mom was a nurse practitioner. So you were around the medical field a lot.
Right.
So it's like you would just think that your parents are telling you, hey, be a doctor, be a doctor, be a doctor, because you know they're in the field and they want, obviously you want your children to do better than you. Right. It's just, yeah. So it's, but it's like you got parents like, and I'm just gonna say my parents, it's like, yo, you're not like, kids want to be what they're around. You know, I always use this analogy like basketball players. Their parents don't have to force their kids to play ball. You see your dad playing ball on TV. I want to play ball now. That's it is what it is. You know, I want to play ball. I see my dad playing ball. Exactly. But when you like, it's like my parents didn't do a good job of like kind of pushing me in a direction where I would have choices as to what I wanted to do, you know, and their idea of success was just be a doctor or a lawyer or anything like that. So what would your advice be to parents who, like in a lot of African and Caribbean parents do this, they just tell their kids, you're in college, major in something that'll get you to med school. And it's like, you didn't even ask the kid if that's really what he wanted to do. And I see a lot of kids, they do that. They switch majors 4 or 5 times, then they graduate with something that they don't really care about. Now they're in kind of like a limbo kind of thing, like, yo, damn, what am I gonna do here? Hey. You know, because see, I was lucky in that, like, when I kind of decided, like, all right, this doctor thing, like, I don't got the passion, and you know, I just can't do I'm gonna be honest, like, the work was just a little bit too much for me. So I was just lucky that, you know, I got into one of the specialties in the health science major, the nuclear medicine. I got into that, you know, and I was doing that, and I was like, all right, cool, I'll be a technologist. All right, I'm good. You know what I mean? But, you know, most people don't have that luxury. So what would you tell parents that have children going into college about forcing them to do something that they never even really asked them if they want to do?
That is a tough question because I feel like the responsibility falls on both sides, right? On both the children and the parents. So the parents, like up until you're a certain age, I mean, even beyond college, your parents are there as like a form of guidance and stuff like that. There's certain children that don't necessarily possess like a certain like drive or initiative or like have certain foresight that parents just not naturally, but through experience they have. So sometimes I feel like what parents want to do is they want to be like, okay, like maybe my kid can't really understand the value in this. Like I'm sure there's certain things growing up, your parents just made you do that joint, whatever, and you just did it.
Yeah.
And then like eventually there's like, oh, like I see why they was making me do that. So
Mhm.
sometimes I feel like that's what they're trying to do. But I feel like a lot of the time, especially in our culture, parents would just be like, and I feel like I heard you, like you might have said this on the podcast with Pat, like parents will look at their children as like almost like trophies sometimes. So it's like, because of that, like, it's like, okay, my son is a doctor. So like, that's what it is. It's almost like a status symbol. So it's like, so what I would say to them is that the communication, and it goes back to, it's kind of deeper than like education in college. It goes back to just like how you interact with your kids and how kids interact with their parents. Like communication is very important. Having a conversation about what you want to do in life is something that needs to be very much an open discussion from early, so that by the time you apply into school, it's not like, oh, what am I going to do now? It's like, oh, we've talked about this already.
Mhm.
So there's not a shock here. Like if all of a sudden, like you're a kid, you're 14, 15, 16, and you decide at some point, like your parents been talking to you about medicine, but you don't want to do that. You start telling your parent early so that when you go into college, it's not like, yeah, I don't want to do pre-med. Now your parents like, yo, what are you talking about? You never said you wanted to do pre-med. And now you don't want your parents doesn't want you to be in a spot where you're just wasting time in school, wasting bread. You know what I'm saying? So, and at the same time, I feel like college students, obviously, like it's important to discover life, discover yourself in school, but you also want to be wise. You don't want to be going to Syracuse University. You took out 60K to figure out life doing liberal arts. You know what I'm
That's a
saying?
fact.
If you want to do this if you want to figure it out, you better hit that community college for 2 years. You feel me? Like,
Yeah, get it up over there.
like if you get in a scholarly somewhere, all right, do you. But if it's like a situation where like like your parent is sacrificing XYZ for you, you gotta be wise about how you move and how you trying to figure yourself out. You know what I'm saying? Like there's certain sacrifices that are being made for you, and you want to be considerate in some way, shape, or form. But the communication got to start early, so you're not even in a situation like that to begin.
I feel like, yo, don't I don't know. I don't want to, like, don't look at me as a savior. I don't know how to put it. Like I feel like some parents, like, and mine's included, like they come from like you're coming from Ghana, and then you come here, and then you're doing these jobs. Like my mom works in a hotel and stuff. My dad was a security guard.
Yeah,
you're doing these jobs, so you're looking at your kids like, all right. They're doing the math, bro. I know they're doing the math. All right, he graduated at 22, med school straight after 26, specialty 4 or 5 years, 31. All right, 30 years, and then he could take care of me. I feel like they be looking at it like that.
In some ways, yeah, definitely. There's no way that's not ever thought of at some point. Especially when you have a situation like that, when you've been killing yourself, breaking your back, doing something that you damn sure don't want to do for mad years. Obviously, they might be seeking some sort of like of a payout eventually, or like I sacrifice all this for you, like I hold it down now, and like I think that probably for the most part, like most kids, you grow up and you're gonna be like, nah, like yeah, like not because you're telling me to, but because of like I want to do that. Yeah, I'm gonna hold it down. You know what I'm saying? So, but it's definitely like I feel for a lot of students that go through that. Like I'm thankful that I was one of the cases where my parents wasn't really pressing certain things on me. And I do think it's also just because of like how my personality was. Like I have my brothers is like kind of different situations. So where my parents were a little bit more heavy-handed on them, just because naturally they weren't as inclined to like do certain things or whatever. But like for me, it was like because education and stuff like that was a little bit more important to me. It was like I don't really need to worry as much.
You don't need to go too hard with
You know what I'm
Curt because
saying?
he gonna
Like,
do his
at
thing.
the end of the day, I feel like they're trying to look out for them for at the end of the day, but like being vocal as a kid, and it's crazy because it's looked down upon in our culture. Like you don't want to
Yeah, they're not hearing none of that, bro.
yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like it's not a conversation that I would be ready to have when I was in 8th grade, 9th grade. Nah, no way. Like
Uh,
I'm just not gonna do it. I'm not trying to get yelled at. But
I feel like they don't realize, like some parents don't realize there's other accesses to wealth. Like I feel like they think like doctor, lawyer is the only way that you can create something for your family. Like of course, you know, you're gonna make a big salary once you become a medical doctor, but like, you know, there's other ways that people can, you know, invest, you know, real estate, like, you know, make your own kind of, you know, there's so many ways. So I just feel like parents don't need to, if it's purely monetary based, I feel like you shouldn't tell your kid to be a doctor or a lawyer. If it's purely monetary based.
I mean, I agree with that. I agree with that, and I feel like something that I said before, like as far as like status is concerned, like people looking at doctors and lawyers and engineers, they like some,
Oh no,
like
you're right.
people look at them like it's a noble profession
Respect.
or whatever. So parents look at that. But another thing that I mentioned was like as far as like having a plan. Like I feel like if you're younger and it's like, yo, I don't want to be a doctor or a lawyer, engineer. I don't want to do none of that. This is what I want to do. This is how long it might take. This is what it's gonna yield. I feel like any reasonable parent, if you're able to communicate that, then they'll be like, I bet for the most part, But if you're in a situation where it's just like, yeah, I don't want to do any of these three, but I think I want to do this. I'm not really sure how it's gonna look, but like I'm gonna figure it out. Like your parents gonna be like, yo, what do you mean? You know what I'm saying?
Nah, you're right. I think
And
that
then
was a
at the same
conversation
time,
I was having. That was a conversation I was
nah,
having.
what's your mom's?
Yeah, she like I remember my first semester out in Stony, I got a 2.9, right?
Mm.
And my mom wasn't the type of mom that's like, oh, let me see your grades, let me see your grades. She trusted me in that, like I said I'm gonna do something. So she was like, this as the semester ended, she didn't ask me what was my GPA or nothing like that. She was just like, all right, you know, you're working towards being a doctor, so whatever. So when I had that conversation with her, I was like, yo, mom, this these classes is just like I just can't do it. And she was like, what do you mean? You're not studying, you with girls, you're at parties. I'm like, mom, like, and Curt, you know me, bro. Like, I don't really be doing that like that. I don't really be going out like that. So it's like, yo, like, it's just not like I don't have the drive. It's like the money is not really, it can't drive me to do it that much. You know what I mean? I actually gotta really like it.
Right.
I,
Not facts.
I don't really like, it's not, I love medicine. Like I'm a technologist. I love medicine. I'm just not in love with the idea of being a doctor. And it's not because I would love to be a doctor. I just like, if a doctor, if the process to being a doctor was the same as the process to being a technologist, I'd be a doctor, bro.
Right.
But it's not the same. Like you gotta have OD delayed gratification. You gotta study.
Absolutely. Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
OD.
I'm like,
OD.
I could do this for 2 years and be a tech and make 80. All right, cool. You know what I mean? That's just how I looked at it. You know what I mean?
Right.
So how are you looking at it right now? Like how are you keeping yourself going?
Yeah, that's a great question, bro. I think the future, like literally, like you said, delayed gratification, like looking at the future, looking at the grand scheme and the purpose was like something that I had to keep in mind for a while, because like even after I got it together and I realized that, okay, this is what I had to do, this is my motivation, there was a lot of different things that happened along the way that I could have just been like, all right, like it's slow now. You know what I'm saying? Like several things happened along the way. This semester after I had that whole realization or whatever, I got my like I got right with my mentorship stuff. Like I got into SNMA and MAPS, and one of my mentors, she put me on to mad doctors, bro. She just sent mad emails like introducing me to doctors and was like, yo, schedule meetings. And I just started going to different doctors, having meetings. just to gain some inspiration. That was the best semester I had at Stony. First and only time I ever was on Dean's list. Just from having that.
Fire,
But
bro.
after that, the semester after that, worst semester I ever had at Stony grade wise.
What?
So it just be at that point it was like, damn, like it was almost like was that a fluke? You know what I'm saying? Like, and I started to feel like discouraged almost. I had to take biochem again that summer because I took it the summer before and that joint bodied me. And then the second time I took it, it didn't go great either. So now I'm at this point where we getting ready to graduate, and it's like what am I about to do? I know I can't take the MCAT right now. I'm definitely not ready. I don't really have the grades to like get into grad school. Like, I'm not trying to retake the prereqs. So what am I doing now? And
I'm glad you said that too.
yeah, I somehow ended up getting I got advice to apply to certain programs, and I went to this conference in Atlanta in April, spring break of senior year. Well, not spring break, but April of senior year. And I talked to mad different admissions committees from med schools, and I was like, look, this is my situation right now. Like, what do you think is the best idea? Like, you think I should go to grad school? You think I should retake my prereqs? Like, what do y'all think is the best idea? And they was like, if you can get into a master's, do it, because what we want to see is you're able to handle higher level sciences. Like, if you taking Gen Chem again, it's like, all right, whatever. Like, the reason you taking the prereqs is so you can do MCAT. And then like if we're able to see like you can take let's just give a random like buy a 400 and body the joint, like, all right, cool, do that. So I was like, all right, bet. So I applied. I asked this question after I had already applied to grad school. I was just hoping that that's what they wanted. So I have applied to grad schools. Yeah, I applied to 3 programs. I got dubbed by 2 of them. I got dubbed by the Stony program like a few days, maybe like a week or 2 before graduation, and I was sick. I was like, that was really like the thing that I thought I had in. Like, I was like, I know mad people here. I'm Gucci, and I just got dubbed, bro. And I was just like, damn, like it's slow. And then one program that I had applied to, I was like, oh, Stony dubbed me. They definitely dubbed me. It's over for that. And maybe like a week before graduation, bro, I opened that letter, bro, and it said congratulations, and I was like,
fire,
crazy. That's crazy. So then even in grad school, first year was like okay, and I took my MCAT. I studied for the MCAT for the first time that summer. Did horrible, terrible. Like I did horrible. So at that point, that's another point where I'm just like, then what am I about to do now? You know what I'm saying? Like all my classmates is getting ready to apply this fall, so that right after we graduated, we can start med school. But I knew I couldn't do that, so I'm like, okay, I'm gonna delay my process again. Like I'm gonna delay my process more. Like, you know, you start college, you like, all right, by 20, at this point it'll be 2020.
Start doing the math.
2021, I'm gonna be here. You know what I'm saying? But like that wasn't the case, and I kept pushing it back. All right, a year after that. All right, a year after that. So now I start my second year of grad school, and I started working part-time, which made it as a scribe to get some shadowing hours. And the shadowing hours definitely helped me a lot, but as far as busyness, like it just made it harder to do school. And in some way, somehow, I started doing the best in school that I ever did. I guess because it forced me to really focus, because I had so much going on, and I did well. And then I had to get ready to take my MCAT again in the summer after I graduated. And even in that, as I'm getting ready to take it, like I just wasn't getting the grades that I wanted to get. Like I just wasn't. I was just getting fresh.
What grades do you need to get in the master's program? Like, do you need a 4.0? Like, we're not even. There's no games.
The master's right was, if you had a 3.4 overall and you got a 5.06 on your MCAT, they guaranteed you an interview at the med school.
Oh,
right?
fine.
So I'm like, all right, bet, lit. My GPA at the end of the master's program was a 3.35.
That's corny. That's corny.
3.35, and then the MCAT, I got a 5.02.
5.02.
I wasn't super close for the MCAT. So I'm like, all right, so I definitely am not gonna get no guaranteed interviews anywhere. I'm gonna just like, and I was like, yo, if I apply right now, I'm either about to waste wild bread and just be mad discouraged with all these rejections, or something can come out of this. And I was like, yo, I'm gonna go for it, bro. I just applied, and from from December to February, my emails were just full of "we regret to inform you, we regret to inform you, we regret to inform you." Like every couple of days, I'm just getting them joints, and I'm just like, I'm sick. At this point, I was working in hospital for special surgery in like kind of Upper East Side, doing clinical research stuff over there. That's what I was doing in grad school and med school, and so I'm getting ready to like figure out if I'm about to apply again. And I was willing to do another master's. Like I was getting ready to do another master's degree.
You was determined, bro. Like you wasn't even like,
Bro, I'm telling you, like I'm like at some point, like I was just like, I haven't done all this stuff to not do this joint. Like if I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do it. Like, it might take some extra time, and I feel like that's something with pre-meds a lot of the time that, like you mentioned it earlier, like you get a certain grade, it's like, oh nah, it's clipped now.
it's slow now.
The first time I took biochem, bro, I got a D. That joint killed my GPA. Like, you know what I'm saying?
Bro, I think I GPNC'd and I stopped going. I'm like, yeah, it's not happening. This is not about to kill me right now. This is not about to kill me. Fuck out of here. Like,
there's OD. So like I feel like when we came into Stony, bro, everybody and their mom is pre-med, bro. Everybody is like, oh, we all in Chem 129. We all doing,
bro, it's like 150 students, bro. We was lit in that shit, bro.
Little by little, bro. Little by little, you start seeing people that you would see in class every day. You're not seeing them no more, bro. You feel me, bro?
After that first test, nobody was in that shit, boy.
By the time the next year comes, you see Orgo. It's like you see certain people, but a lot of people first year isn't in that shit no more, boy.
Nah,
like people is not, you know what I'm saying? So like there's a lot of points where people was just like, yeah, nah, I can't really rock with this. But I feel like it's a lot of it is because they feel like, oh, because they had certain hiccups and failures early on, it's over for them. And what I say to that is like, yo, you can do it. It's just gonna take you some more time and some grit. Like that's all it's gonna take. Like if you're willing to retake your prereqs, school's gonna look at that favorably. If you're willing to go to grad school, they're gonna look at that favorably. If you take your MCAT 3 times and you body that joint the third time, they're gonna be like, all right, bet he's really determined. But like a lot of students will be like, oh, nah, they never gonna take me now because I have this on my transcript. You know what I'm saying? Like any med school that look at my transcript will be like, damn, like undergrad was really trash for him. But he wants to go get a master's. The MCAT twice. Like he was doing whatever he had to do to get over here. And like I told you, I was about to go do another master's program at the school that I'm at right now. They have a master's for 1 year. I was about to do that, or I was about to go to Drexel and do a 1 year program over there. So either way, I was gonna do something else. I was gonna get another degree or whatever, something. You feel me? So like it's like I always say, like, I don't think that I'm somebody who is naturally smart or gifted or anything like that, but I'm for damn sure persistent, like for sure. Resilience is definitely something that I have, and like I'm grateful to have, that I didn't always have, but like I developed along the way. You know what I'm saying? And that's something that I attribute to me being here right now.
You know what's fire, bro, is that I never heard you say like, yeah, I got a 3.3 at 502. I was considering being a PA, because I like a lot of, like, I work at a cardiology office under a cardiologist, obviously, and I work close with a PA. And I was just talking to her, and we just having a little conversation. I was like, yo, you ever think about being a doctor? She was like, yeah, that's what I wanted to do at first, but now I'm a PA.
Yeah. Now, you know what's crazy, bro? I don't even want to, like, no shade to anybody that decides to do PA or MP, nothing like that.
Nah, PA's lit.
Everybody that does these things, especially PAs, like, they have a lot of autonomy to do most of the things that doctors do, and take them short to do it. But I almost feel like I don't know anybody that is the PA, and this is really no shade, but I don't know anybody that's a PA that from jump, they was like, yo, I want to be a PA. I don't know anybody.
No, no,
I don't
no,
know
yeah.
anybody. You feel me? And like, I almost feel like I would rather that because what you have is you have a lot of people that end up being like, this is like my backup or something like that. And I feel like there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with having a backup or anything like that. But just for me, I have at least something about me that's like I'm willing to make adjustments and I'm willing to adapt to what changes happen in my life, timeline wise and everything. But like as far as like a setting a certain goal, like doctor was what I was gonna do. If I wasn't gonna do doctor, I was not gonna be in medicine. Like that's what it was. If I wasn't gonna
That's
be a
fire.
doctor, I was gonna be in medicine, and that was just me. But everybody has their own path, and like I definitely don't want to throw shade or anything to anybody that seeks to do otherwise, because we need all those positions. Like every single position you have in a hospital or an office or a clinic, like if you don't have all of them, the care of the patient is not going to happen as it should. So everybody that has those positions is like it's definitely admired and respected. Um, but it's just like interesting, like you said, like you have a lot of people that be like, "Oh, I'll do this instead." Like that just wasn't gonna be my thing.
It was like either doctor or nothing.
It was doctor or honestly, it was either doctor or I've debated going into just like full time ministry before, but I haven't ever
Oh
seen
shit.
myself. Actually, I thought about healthcare administration at a point. Like when we was in Stony, I thought about doing like health
Mhm.
science, going that route and doing healthcare administration stuff. But other than that, like as far as a professional field, I just didn't see outside of medicine, I couldn't think of anything else that was interesting to me. Like just out of just like regular like jobs. Like I was like law, like my pops talked to me about law school before. I was like, I don't like law. I don't like any of that stuff at all. Like people be like, oh, I'm a business major. I want to be an entrepreneur. Power to you was not my thing. I don't have that.
What would what would your advice be to black pre-med specifically? Because you know, like
Yeah.
I want to focus on black people, bro, because
Yeah.
it's
Not
like
fact.
we need that support. We
Mm,
need that advice. We need to see people who's doing it.
for sure.
And you know, I'm real glad that you know you doing it, bro. Like I like to be honest with you, bro. Like I always thought you were a genius, bro. Like, to be honest, like, and nobody ever talked about grades. So like, I was like, Curtis probably got like an A. Like this nigga probably got like a 3.8 GPA and shit. Like,
Nah.
you know, nobody talks about grades.
Nah, it's definitely not in Stony, bro. Definitely not in Stony. Nobody was talking about grades in Stony Brook, bro. No way.
Nobody. So like, I'm just going off of like you know, because you got to be smart to get into Stony Brook and
Yeah,
endure the classes that you got to take to get
yeah,
into med school. And I
right.
knew you were taking the science classes and all that shit. So I'm like, yo, my boy got like a 3.8, you know, something like. So
I wish.
you know what I mean?
But,
So what would your advice be to like black pre-meds who's like
yeah,
struggling, trying to get into it, like can't see the light at the end of the tunnel, like
yeah. I would say the first advice that I would give is like having guidance is super important, right? I don't know, like at different schools, um, things are like set up differently as far as advising and everything like that. At Stony, bro, countless stories people would tell me like how advising was just super discouraging, and that happened to me too. Where they just told me like, "Yo, this is your
terrible,
GP.
bro.
You should do something else, bro." You ever thought of respiratory care? Like that, they said
Oh
that to me.
yeah.
You ever thought of
Yeah.
respiratory? Like, nah, I haven't. Nah, I haven't thought about that. You feel me? So what I would advise is that somehow being able to connect with like a mentor, like they don't need to be a doctor all the way, but having guidance along the way is huge. You know what I'm saying? And like different schools have different resources and means of that. Like there's organizations that are there and purposed for um like underrepresented minority students and like providing them with resources and support to get to where they're trying to go. So programs like that, like if I didn't have that, I wouldn't be here right now because I wouldn't have the examples and I wouldn't have the people that were catering to me. You feel me? Like, and that's why in my junior and my senior year, like I was super heavy in maps and like trying to really, get pre-meds, put them on game because I'm like, this is what I needed. This is what I needed from early, from freshman year. Is what I needed. So that's one. Two, and it kind of goes in tandem with that. Is like, at least for me, like connecting with, like talking to people was something I was afraid of from early. Like I didn't want to go to office hours. I never went to office hours for science in my career. Never, not once. Going to office hours, talking to professors, talking to like getting out there, getting out of your shell from early is very important. And it's like I noticed that like white people don't have that problem. Like
No, they don't.
they walking into any office, they're
Very
going
bubbly.
confidence. And I'm not saying that it's like something that we have about ourselves or whatever that we, you know what I'm saying? Like I know why it's there. Like the lack of confidence, at least for me, I'll speak for myself, is what prevented me from doing those things. It's like, oh, like I know I'm doing trash. Like I'm not going to office hours. They're gonna look at me like, oh, he's doing trash. You feel me? But like reaching out for help from early is super important. You know what I'm saying? Like that's two pieces of advice that I'll give. And then thirdly, like just like you gotta have some grit and some tough skin if this is what you're trying to do. Like it's okay to fall down, and it's okay to like have those moments where you kind of are hurt by like what's going on and like how you're feeling. Like I had mad moments where I was just like, damn son, I really got a D in that joint. Like, that's crazy. Like this the moment
Crazy, right? Yeah.
you really heard about
and
it.
it's not like you bullshitting, like you really studying, like I'm really
right.
going hard for this, and I got a D. Like that's crazy.
But you gotta get up. Like you have to. You gotta take the blows as they come, and you gotta keep running. Like you have to. Like that's the only way you're gonna make it in this, because there's no way that you have to do this joint and smoothly pass through it. Like there's no way that's gonna happen. So those are like the three main things I'll say. Like having very important, like having guidance from early, reaching out and asking for help every time that you need it, not just sometimes, not just like, oh, I could probably get by this time. Like if you feeling like you sinking, ask for help immediately. You know what I'm saying? And then lastly, just like like have some sort of like you gotta have some toughness to you to do it. Like you gotta.
Is it? I don't want to say, because there's people who do it. Is it like plausible to go from fourth year senior to med school like automatically, like no gap years, no nothing? I know it's possible, but like
it's definitely possible. And statistically, actually, like so a student who doesn't go straight is referred to as a non-traditional student. Statistically, non-traditional students are becoming more like making up more the demographic for classes now. Like it's like a med school class, like most of the students will have not gone straight from undergrad.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly.
That's becoming a normal thing. So I think coming to that realization that like, yo, it's okay to deviate from the normal path. Like that's something that's like, I guess another piece of advice to give. Like, yo, if you wanted to do this in X amount of time and it's gonna take you 2 more years, like that's fine. That's all right. Just stick, like if you have that plan in mind, like stick to it, be disciplined and do what you gotta do. But sometimes things happen where you gotta adjust. That's life though. That's not just pre-med, that's life.
That's regular.
Like you gotta adjust, you gotta move with, you gotta, roll with the punches and but it's definitely possible. It's definitely possible, but you gotta, that's something that you gotta start getting advising from like even before college, like the kinds of things that you gotta be doing and be ready for. You know
so would you say people who go straight have been they've been doing all the right steps since before college?
I think so, yeah. Like you have a lot of students who like they volunteered in high school and they did all this stuff, and like their uncle was a physician or whatever, and like so they know that this is what they're gonna have to like. Before I got to college, bro, I never heard the word MCAT before. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know that.
I thought you just get good grades and get in. Like I didn't know there was a test.
I didn't even know there was a test. Like I thought you gotta just whatever. So, so like being able to like know those things, and like I remember somebody was asking me like how, like what ways we can benefit Black students and stuff, and like there's some certain pipeline programs through colleges sometimes that from high school they'll start with certain sort of like exposure, like early exposure programs. Obviously you can't implement that into every single school, but like
I think City College has that actually.
Yeah, probably, right?
College might have that.
that stuff is important. Just like started to prime students earlier, you know what I'm saying? But like it's definitely possible to go straight through. But if I'm looking at it now, I don't know that I'd want to go straight through because undergrad by itself was mad hard.
Crazy.
Med school is mad hard, bro. You saying you want to go straight from mad hard to mad hard, no breaks. Like that's OD.
That's crazy.
That's OD. So people was able to do it though. I remember I was in a cell signaling class like fall of senior year, and I was looking at this dude computer sitting in front of me, and he was going through his emails and looking at mad interview stuff, and I'm like, yo, he's doing interviews already? Like, how is that
flying out? He's flying out already?
Right. I'm like, I didn't even know that it was that people like, I didn't know that was like the order of things that you start, that you're interviewing and while you're in college and junior year or senior year and whatever. So education about that stuff is like super important. Like I learned stuff along the way. Now I'm able to put people on game and give knowledge, thankfully. But there was a point where I didn't know a lot of the stuff that I should have and would have helped me along the way, you know.
No, that's why I asked you because like from what I know, like most people I've known or heard of that are in med school, like they're like 26, 25, even some in 30s. Like, so like it's weird that the traditional way is straight from college. But like now it's a point where it's like, nah, nobody really doing that. Like they're not going straight from college to med school, really. It's like, yo, take your year, you know what I mean, your year or 2 or 3, and, you know, get your grades up, or take a year and relax, and you know what I mean? Like I feel like that's better because med school is crazy. Like I wouldn't, like you said, I want to go from just mad hard to mad hard. Like,
yeah, bro. And just getting some like life experience under your belt, like grad school for me, like obviously I knew that I had to work through school and whatever, and it was tough. But like,
you working right now? My bad. You working right now?
Nah.
Yeah. Like, yo, you working? You wild? Nah.
I'm saying like, so when I was in grad school, like I feel like a lot of like personal development happened, so that when I started med school, like you have certain life experience, certain things that you learn about just like yourself, not just like learning, just like how you are as a person. So when you come into med school, it's like you look at life from a different perspective. The kind of person that I was when I left college, I can't imagine that person doing this stuff right now and doing it effectively. Like certain amounts of discipline, certain amounts of resilience, certain amounts of like just like emotional capacity. I don't think that I had when I was 22. So like being able to be 25 and start school, I'm like, okay, like I know a little something now. Like I'm still obviously relatively young, but like, you know, there's people in my class that's 30. There's people in my class that got babies. You know what I'm saying? Like, but like they and certain life experiences were thrown at them for them to be at this position now. But like that goes to show you, if you want this joint, you can get it. And then also like I feel like it's almost helpful because you definitely notice like the different ages of people, like you based off of like how they approach
conversations and stuff.
Yeah, you definitely notice that joint. You know what I'm saying? Like most of the people that I'm cool with are like 27, 26. You know what I'm saying? And we all started med school together. By the time we leave, a lot of people is gonna be like 30. A lot of people is gonna be mid-30s. You feel me? But yeah, bro.
One more thing. I don't want to. Damn, I know we got to end this soon, but like, I really want to ask you this question: how do you study,
bro? Do
you tune people out? Do you like go in a dungeon and like nobody talk to me? Like,
that's the hardest question I feel like you asked me on this thing, because that's something that I'm still like working through, like getting together well. As far as like classes and studying and stuff like that, like my room was upstairs in my house. And I didn't mention this the whole time. Doing med school from home is I'm looking forward to doing med school in person. I have nothing to compare it to.
I didn't.
But I imagine, yeah, bro, virtual Zoom University. Yes, yeah, bro.
Oh, that's crazy. Yeah. So when you was telling me like, yo, I got class that ends like, you know, close to 4, like you were right there.
I was sitting here. Yes. Yeah.
Yo, I thought you was coming from like, coming from class.
Bro, my school is in Nashville. I never even been there before.
What?
My school's in Tennessee. I've never been to Tennessee. My interview was virtual. Like this whole joint has just been Zoom. Like
That's crazy. So when are you going out there? Like when the vaccine happens, I guess.
Yes, I mean, so next semester, like we officially, like they said that next semester is gonna be in person. Some of like maybe the more large classes that we have will still be online, but like there's certain classes that we have like every week we have like a standardized patient encounter where like a patient will come in with whatever symptoms we're learning about that week, and then we gotta like see them. Like it's like they come in for a visit and we like act like their doctor. That stuff is very difficult to do over Zoom because there's certain things that require tactile skills, like listening to a heart, listening to lungs. All that kind of stuff. So those classes are more small group based. Like there's like 3 other students in my group and then the doctor. So those things we can start doing in person. But as far as like the major lectures, I think those will probably still be in person. But they want us to get back on campus. Everybody got to be tested. Everybody got to do all that stuff before we touch down. So
you got a crib out there already, or like you're gonna organize that when like stuff is getting closer to?
Yeah, and I made sure that I locked in the apartment stuff, like got a lease down and everything like that, so that I don't have to start worrying about that stuff too much, like as the time gets closer. So,
yo, how long do you study, bro?
Per day? So a day like today, we had class from 9 to 4. So after we finish class, I personally got to be away from the books for like at least like 2 hours, sometimes 3. So I'll probably study from like 6 to like maybe midnight, and I'll call it a day. Like it's like if you could study 10 hours a day, like all power to you, but I can't do that. So like I usually do like on average I'll study for like 5 hours a day. That'll consist of different stuff. Sometimes most of the time I'll rewatch lectures. I'll take notes on it. I'll watch YouTube videos. I'll do like practice questions and stuff like that. So like we're
just different resources
depending on like where we are in the week. Because every Friday we get tested, right? So by on Thursday, I definitely don't want to be rewatching anything. I want to just be doing mad questions by Thursday. Ideally, it don't always work out that way though. A lot of the time, it don't work out that way. There's times that'll be Thursday that I'm learning something for the first time. I'll keep it a buck, and I gotta test on it the next day. But yeah, so it's like a different variation of stuff. And then another part of like being in school, like you got to realize you're making an investment in certain things. Because I've paid for like certain like question bank resources or whatever, like test bank resources. You putting out the bread for it, but like they're helpful. They help you do well. But it's like, you know what I'm saying? I feel for the students that not everybody got $300 to spend on whatever. You feel me? So, but I'm living on borrowed bread anyway. So.
yeah, yo, it is what it is, bro. Like it's expensive, so that's another thing. You got to make sure this is something you want to do. You can't just go into med school and drop out. It's like, come on now, like you didn't spend all this money. You got to make sure this is something that you want to do. You got to be determined, because I signed something that's saying I got to pay this back someday. You know what I mean?
That's a fact. Definitely a fact.
So one more thing before we. Yo, this episode was crazy, bro. I'm hyped, bro. I'm really hyped that you took my offer and you joined the show, man. I'm really hyped that you did that, because like, bro, you doing what every parent wants for their children. Not every parent, but like our, parents in our culture and shit, bro. They want something like this for their kids. I just needed your perspective. So I just want you just a little bit. Last question, like, how has your faith helped you with this journey, bro, to becoming a doctor? Because some people completely neglect that.
That is definitely like probably one of the better questions you've asked me today. Faith has been, if I didn't have it, I don't know that I could be or would be here, would be able to do this at all. So I already know that. I mean, obviously, like, it's kind of tough to give a blanket answer or to advise somebody from a certain worldview that not everybody has. But for me, recognizing like who God is and who He's called me to be, like being able to understand that a lot of like and draw strength from something that's greater than myself is like, because you just don't have the capacity to handle this stuff, bro. Like there's people that go through school, bro, that don't believe in anything, and I'm just like, yo, I don't understand how, because like there's times where just like physically and mentally I don't have, well, not even there's times, like most times I don't have the capacity to do this stuff. But just because of the strength that I know that God gives me, I'm able to like make it through each day. And I try to just take it day by day. So God has definitely given me strength. He's definitely given me purpose. And that's something I mentioned earlier, like, and just seeing a little bit further ahead, like being able to know and have a reason for my why. Um, like people that are Christian know that like a lot of what we do, we don't even just do it like for ourselves, but we do it as unto God. So like I approach like what I consider, I guess, to be my craft now is like when I'm doing this, I'm not about to just laze through it because I know that I'm not just doing it for me. I know who I'm doing it for. So like that's what it's helped me for as well, just like as far as motivation is concerned. And then just seeing the bigger picture and just helping me to view and knowing who I'm gonna potentially be taking care of, like being able to see them as like, God's creations and like stuff like that. So being able to know who I'm gonna be caring for, who I'm gonna be catering to, is definitely something that helps me to be inspired every day. So like even when I'm looking at a slide that is mad annoying and it has mad stuff on it, I'm just like, yo, how like. And actually, now that I'm in med school, and something that I'm so grateful for that in undergrad I struggled through was seeing stuff on my slides and being like, how is this going to pertain to like what I want to do? Now everything that I'm doing like has like a clinical basis to it. So it's just like you're able to see things a little bit more real time. In undergrad, it's like you're looking at carbon reactions and you're like, yo, like I don't understand.
Like
You feel me?
you're
So,
just like, yo, I'm done with this.
yeah, bro. So yeah, man. My faith has really been like my like, what do you call it? Like my foundation, like my rock through this whole process. And like, I'm definitely thankful that God's called me to do this and has been sustaining me through it, because people get into med school and they drop out. People try this. People apply to school. I know people that's applied to med school 3 times. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, God has definitely favored me in a way that I can only be grateful for. And part of my being grateful for that is really just working hard at it, really just making sure that I'm a good steward of what He's put in front of me. And so, and doing things like this, helping people along, because like it's not, I can't just keep it all for me. I remember somebody once, I met a black doctor when I was in my first year of grad school, and something he said to me that stuck with me was like, he was just like, yo, like there's room at the top for everybody. Like, I'll see you there. And that joint just motivated
That's
me.
fire.
It was just like, yo, like it doesn't have to be like I just gotta keep all these secrets to myself. Like every knowledge that I get, bro, I want to put people on game, because there's not a limited number of doctors that we can have. Like people are gonna be sick. You feel me? Like you feel me? Like people gonna need people to take care of them.
Gonna be sick word.
You feel me? So if I can help anybody in any way that I can, whether it's through doing a podcast, whether it's through people hitting me up, whether it's through doing a panel, whatever I got to do, I definitely want to give back in that regard. So I appreciate you even having me on here. You feel me?
There you have it, man. Episode 2, man. Birds of the Same Feather podcast, man. Yo, bro. That was crazy, bro. That was fire, bro. That was fire, bro. Yo, bro, that was fire, bro.